Joe Cronin Show presents a show with attitude. Beyond the matches. Behind the storylines. State of the WWE.
It's time to talk wrestling right here on the Joe Cronin Show.
We're not talking about killing
shit bums. Don't forget to donate in the box below. We all know, Joe, you take that money, you buy those hoes, but that's okay, because we all still love the Joe Cronin Show anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to chime in with our inside joke. Okay. Wrestling. We don't have a lot of time here. I got to be honest. I got to get out of here. I want to do an hour or two of State of the WWE, but you know what? Me and Justin did 5 hours of wrestling talk, so if you are not satisfied by this, I'll tell you part 1 and part 2 of Remembering WrestleMania is up now. Go listen to them. It's 5 hours of podcasting insanity.
Epic.
You must listen to it.
I heard that, and it was great.
Did you hear it all? Did you fall asleep? Because, I mean, it's really long.
Oh, no. I listened to both of them, and yeah, they're long, but there's a lot of information. You're covering a lot of WrestleManias.
It was really good.
We've covered 21 years so far.
We've got 10 more to go, and that will be coming up soon. But right now, it's State of the WWE. First thing I want to talk about is listen, when you go on like Wrestling Inc. or WrestleZone or any of the wrestling websites, the top commented news article by far was my Ted DiBiase interview outtake. 358 comments, just tons of shares, above all the other stories. It is 70% above the other stories. However, there is one story that has exploded. If mine is 70% above the other ones, this one is 98% above the other stories. I mean, it is unbelievable. AJ Styles comments on being in the Royal Rumble. Is he coming? And the fans at this event start chanting Royal Rumble. He says, if there was a slot, I'll be there to kick ass for you guys and everything. And I think that's kind of like a vague thing. I made a video earlier about Finn Balor doing the Bullet Club thing and pointing the gun at the head of Sami Zayn in a match that he had with him. But then other people told me he's done that a bunch. So I never saw him do the gun thing, to be honest, or I never noticed it. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, but I don't think WWE. I'm surprised they'll even let him do that, to be even in NXT. Making a gun reference to shooting someone in the head is kind of something that I'm not sure the WWE would entertain, to be honest.
Yeah, it would be odd for them to condone something like that. I agree.
Like you could put your fist to their head and be like, or like put their fist to their head, like that means like I've got power over you or something, as opposed to the gun thing, which, I mean, I'm all in favor of the gun thing, but I just know how WWE is. And, I don't know. But this is starting to feel like, is this going to be something? I still don't know if it's something that's going to happen on NXT or what's going to happen, but am I the only one? I'm starting to feel like something is going to happen with the Bullet Club at Royal Rumble.
And to be honest with you, Joe, I'm okay with that. And I've gotten a lot of heat on some of the podcasts that we've done, talking about how, because everyone thinks that AJ Styles and the Bullet Club should go straight to NXT, instead of the main roster. But I don't think that personally we, and most importantly WWE, can afford to do that right now. They need something big to happen now.
Fuck WWE and fuck their myopic views. The fact is, this is their own fault. I disagree with you, Justin, because I do not want them to go directly to WWE. I think they should go directly to NXT and stay there while they build their name and reintroduce themselves to the North American market. The fact that WWE right now is lacking in stars is their own fault.
Right.
They could have easily cleared Bryan. That's another issue altogether. But the bottom line is that if you take the former members of the Bullet Club and try to reintroduce them into the main roster, I only see one thing, and that's burying them.
Can I say something real quick, though, Dave, to kind of add to that, though? My problem with what you're saying is, they need to go, because you're saying they need to go to NXT. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, but here's my thing with that, and why. Obviously, I think for the main part is WWE needs something important to happen on the roster. Nothing important is going on right now except for the Roman Reigns thing.
And why is that? Why?
It's
why you're saying
WWE's
that.
fault. I get that, but just humor me for a second. I get that it's WWE's booking that has created the problems that they're having. But if you bring in the Bullet Club too, instead of taking them to NXT, because if you take them to NXT, 99.9%, it's going to be fucking amazing. And that's what the NXT fans want. And I want that to a certain degree as well. But I also want to be able to tune in on Monday nights and my fucking WWE pay-per-views and see something badass. And the Bullet Club can do that. And another thing is, too, if they go to NXT and what they do there is fucking amazing, if they do come up to the main roster, regardless if it's good, I don't care what people will say, it'll always be compared to what happened in NXT.
How about the NWO versus the Bullet
I disagree
Club?
with that because the fact is,
Yeah.
you want the fucking powerhouses, and you've already got them there, but they've been buried. Who are they? The Wyatt
You
family.
don't have them right now, though, David. You don't.
Then
I just
you
call you
build
David.
them
Sorry.
to
David.
where they need to be.
You can't.
You put them back in the prominence where they should be, where they could easily take all four of them, take down Brock Lesnar, where they can take down the fucking whole roster, as they've done in the past,
Wait,
and they
who's
show
their
themselves as
powerhouses,
the
Dave?
new face of fear.
All you said was Bray Wyatt. That's one person. Who's their powerhouse?
I said the Wyatt family.
They've tried to launch them before, and they always halt back. They're not going to do it now. Who's their
Different book.
powerhouses? Single stars. We need powerhouses. Who are they? Bray Wyatt is one. I totally agree with you there. He needs to be one. Then you have Roman Reigns. Who else you got? Who's your other person that they have right now that you're like, if we pull the trigger on him, the fans are going to absolutely get behind him? It could have been Cesaro, but they bombed on that.
Well, yeah. They weren't considering it, basically.
Yeah. My problem is they don't have the guys on the roster right now that they can build other than Bray, as you mentioned. It's almost too late at this point. Dolph, no one gives a fuck about him anymore because they bombed him so many times. They need fresh faces.
Yeah, they do. They need
And
something
you're
to
going to
happen.
sacrifice the NXT brand and the stars that have clearly been buried when they
Why
get
am I
moved up, like
sacrificing?
Sasha
Not if
Banks,
Bullet Club comes up.
because of that reason, because of their lack of foresight.
Why is it a sacrifice, though, for NXT not to get every single person that gets signed to WWE? Why
Ask
can't
Sasha
you...
Banks from the last time that you saw her on TV.
Well,
that's the diva, for
so
one,
you're
and they
but
don't
I
give a
think
shit about divas.
You're just talking about WWE main roster in general. Like, it doesn't matter if they come up there; they're going to be buried no matter what happens. So you just don't like it because,
Ascension.
yeah.
Well,
I
you
get
know, the
what's going
problem
on.
with Ascension was...
What about
is the
Kevin Owens
way-
and Dean Ambrose? They came up.
Titus O'Neil.
Oh,
Well, Titus O'Neil. I mean,
don't be silly. My thing is this: you need a big impact on the main roster. If you want to tune on Monday nights, do you really not want to see AJ Styles and them, the guys from the Bullet Club? There are things the WWE can handle right. They're not fucking ridiculous to an extent where somebody like AJ Styles and Nakamura have been dominating in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're not going to mishandle those guys.
Okay, bud.
Dave does not believe that.
He's not humoring me. I'm just like Triple H. He knows what to do, and I know you think that Vince is just like, well, no, that's not what's going to happen. They weren't started in WWE. You know, that's just, you got to give them the fucking opportunity. I don't care if they go to NXT or the main roster. I'm just saying, I think at this point in WWE's place in their timeline of what they're playing story-wise and stuff, they need the Bullet Club.
They do, and I've said this too about, like, they need to bring up the women. They need
But
to
the
do this.
Bullet Club doesn't need them.
Yeah, that's the problem. So money must talk. Depends how much money they're getting. That's what it comes down to. I mean,
But if the Bullet Club doesn't need them, do they need NXT? Well, I mean, what's your point on that? I don't understand that quote.
do they need NXT? Well, because
Well, Dave said that they don't need WWE. WWE needs them.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And
But what
that's
it- that-
why you would put them in NXT, because that's the audience that's already aware of them, that will start to build that momentum that will pass along onto the main roster, where they start to do these video promos, these segments that they've seemed to have stopped as of late, but they can build their name and they can build the attention for their final debut when they make it out. I mean, you don't want to have two video promos and then release them. You want a month and a half, maybe a month and a week, and then build that name so that when they make that appearance and make that premiere, people are already salivating for who they are.
I agree with you 100% on that, Dave, but I also don't believe you have to put them in NXT to generate that kind of excitement. Because it's been proven in the past that you don't have to really know exactly who a superstar is in order for them to make a big impact once they come up. Like the Bray Wyatt or the Wyatt family promos, once they finally got there, the people were like shocked, like, wow, this is different.
Who was the longest reigning tag team champions of NXT?
It was the Ascension, and their
Yes.
video packages were garbage. The reason they didn't land, I tried to say this earlier, is because of the way they were packaged once they got to the main roster. They're wearing the LOD shoulder pads. They're wearing fucking eye makeup. That's not who they were in NXT. It's just like Neville. Why is Neville,
Case in point. Now, Charlotte, how did she make herself appear on NXT? Basically, I'll cut to the point, which is she didn't need her father to build her name. What happens now that she's part of the main roster? It's the Ric Flair show. Okay? There's Sasha Banks, if you want to go on there. There's Becky Lynch, if you want to go in that direction. I mean, we could make this all about this particular topic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the Ric Flair show. But
It's the NXT effect. You come to the main roster, you get buried.
Well, let me ask you guys this, okay? As far as, let's say they don't send them to NXT, okay? But leading up until WrestleMania, starting the night after the Rumble, or even at the Rumble, let's say, the Rumble, there's an entrant and the lights go out, and then on the Titantron, there's just big, like, thunderous roars and bass drops and stuff, and then you just see, like, words like change is coming, or the WWE's going to change. That happens week after week after week, no matter how much people don't know. The excitement has been generating, and finally, there's the Bullet Club standing out there looking all fucking crazy and stuff.
Yeah, something like that.
People would get behind that.
Something like that,
who else has been saying things are going to change is the fucking social outcasts. So, I mean,
well,
what have they done?
that's stupid. I mean, right away that's already been written off by everybody.
They could have just been called the Outcasts, and that would have been like, yo, shit, this sounds like a badass group, I mean, you got to
call them the shit bums.
You could have called them fucking like $1 million team. You could have called them the best in the world. You could have called them, you could have called them the coolest name ever.
They kind of do deserve the moniker the shit bums, though. I kind of do think that's probably the best way to describe them.
Yeah,
and that makes me love them even more.
I mean,
here comes the shit bums. What did he say? Did he say shit bums?
If you could say shit bums and they could be shit bums, that would get over. Like I know it would. But that's
think of the T-shirt ideas, Joe.
You know what? They should have just called themselves poop bums or poop pants.
Hashtag Joe Cronin for creative.
Poop, exactly, and that would have gone over. It would have been amazing, but we can't say that, so
they could have put your bum hole on the T-shirts that pop up for the shit bum donations.
It's almost like it's almost like when I in a video ranting about something, and I'm saying how in my video where I said the NYPD when they killed that guy, or they accidentally killed the guy, or he died by chance or whatever, and they choked him. And I basically said I was so mad at the police for this poor black guy who dies for no reason, and basically in the video I used the I from the perspective of the police, I said I dropped the N word a bunch, and the point in doing that was to say was to make people go, I can't believe he's saying the N word, but it's like it brings attention to what I'm trying to talk about, because that's how I feel the cops felt, so I put that word in the police's mouth in my video, which is ridiculous, but it draws attention and it's very controversial. And so if you were to call your team something that was like anti the brass ring statement, basically, but very in your face, that would be kind of memorable, because you're doing the same thing there. our team is called Vince's Brown Ring or Vince's Brass Ring.
I would call them the neo jobbers.
See, something like that would work too.
Or call them the knee slappers.
The knee slappers. Yeah. Or the can't sell merchandise team. Anything like, and we can think of a better name than all that, but I mean, the idea that you're basically saying, we know what's going on here, and this is what's happening.
And I could see that work for that group.
Exactly.
How did we get to the social outcast?
I have no idea.
Bullet Club. That was Dave. You compared the Bullet Club to the social outcast. So all the people that listen to this podcast in the comments, you need to fucking rape Dave in the comments.
No, you just gotta listen back and realize I made a proper logical discussion in regards to the situation.
So, so are you guys saying that you don't think if they played that thing I was telling you about for like 2 months building up for WrestleMania, that wouldn't get people jacked up about the Bullet Club coming?
Oh, I think that would be great. I think that would be awesome. I started realizing, maybe it's too late for that now, but
I see potential failings with that personally. I don't think that it would be enough to build because the crowd would have no idea what they're doing. But if they've got the ability to tune into NXT, they're like, holy shit, these guys are coming to WrestleMania?
What if they started?
It needs to. You can't just spring it on people. These days it doesn't work that way anymore. You see that with Tyler Breeze, for example. He didn't have any promos really. He was just basically sprung onto the WWE. And although he had a great run in NXT and his gimmick really worked, and I personally thought, I loved having Summer Rae with him. They got rid of Summer Rae. They buried the guy. And it's like, holy shit. Even though it works in NXT, depending on how you deal with it in WWE is whether or not it goes forward. Because I think they feel that way, I think it failed. But if they had done it a different way, I actually think that Tyler Breeze would be doing well right now.
I don't know. What do you,
I mean, honestly, I think they could do all kinds of things. But put it this way. Even if the Bullet Club had made its way to NXT, you're still missing that 60 or so, maybe I would say 60% of the audience still won't see it. So you're not going to get this overall reaction unless it's the night after WrestleMania.
I'm not denying that. That's the thing.
No, that's what I mean. I'm supporting
you. You are excluding a big portion of that market. But are you willing to just try to spring them on an audience and think that it might work well? Or do you want to build on that and try to make it even bigger? That's my questioning to you and to Justin as to how you would think that, this would,
you can make it
come
bigger.
about.
You can make it bigger. The best thing for the Bullet Club would be to debut. I'm telling you, the best place for anybody to debut, if the WWE wants to make sure that they cater and pick up the momentum of the smart fan who isn't going anywhere, who the 30% of us who are not going anywhere and we care about the wrestling, and we've been here a while and we're going to be here a while, those 30% of the crowd, if they care, which they do, I believe in many ways that they do care about that crowd, but they also care about that mainstream crowd that may only watch for 2 years and we recycle them in and out every 2 years, or the casual other fans. I think they have to pay attention to both, but the mainstream audience sometimes has to follow the lead of the smart fans who already know something, and WWE has to do a good job of blending those together. Like they didn't with Sasha Banks, because Sasha Banks has never done one single moment of what she's done on NXT on the main roster. And the problem with that is that 70% of the crowd doesn't understand then. They don't get why Sasha's so big to everyone. Therefore, now they listen even less to people like us. Because they say, you said all this great stuff about her having these epic matches. I saw some highlight things, and I don't understand why she's special. And everything she does every week is stupid. And Unity, and I want to kill myself. So they hate it too. But, so if you debut the Bullet Club in NXT, it doesn't matter. You can debut the Bullet Club for a year in NXT. That 60% of the crowd still won't see it. But you could debut the Bullet Club the night after WrestleMania on a Monday Night Raw when all the real watchers of Raw are there. The temporary fans, the sometime fans, the always fans, the fans who haven't watched in a while. That is the best night to do anything. WWE has to know this. The night after WrestleMania on Raw is the best night to do it. So many of those people still missed WrestleMania. You know, that 60% of the crowd that doesn't watch NXT, some of them miss WrestleMania still probably, but still watch Raw. Because it's free or they already have their cable provider or whatever. So that is the best night. Everybody's watching. All eyes. Old school eyes are watching. New eyes are watching. The last year fans are watching. Everybody's watching. That is the night to do a Bayley and Sasha, to do this or that. And even at WrestleMania is another night. But you don't want to just start a feud. You can't just start something at WrestleMania like that. So the night after Raw is the night to do it. That is absolutely what you have to do with the Bullet Club. Because it's be shocking, and we'll be like, what's going to happen next week? You know, what's going to happen next? And everybody saw it.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, that I want to, and real quick, too, about the women as far as Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky, the way they were debuted. The problem, the reason fans aren't behind that is because, for one, the reason we're so upset by the way Sasha's being handled, but she came out with Naomi and Tamina, and the mainstream audience, they know Naomi and Tamina way more than they know Sasha.
Yeah.
So they think there's just this random girl walking around with them.
Yeah.
Paige was being accompanied by Becky and Charlotte, so therefore Paige is the one that's been in the mainstream eye. She's on Total Divas. That's who everybody knows. Therefore, Charlotte and Becky just look like a couple of associates.
Yeah.
So they're just not looked at as the way we look at them.
And add on Becky's cheesy personality, too, in that time.
Speaking of Paige, when was the last time you saw her?
She has a concussion.
Yeah, she has a concussion. I did want to say, too, and I've been wanting to get this out for a while because we've had so many foiled people being brought up from NXT and stuff like that. And another problem with that, too, guys, is it is very mishandled by WWE. And another thing is, too, that the people that are NXT fans, they see just how much they're changing, and they just shoot it down because it's not what they saw in NXT. They hate the change. But the big problem nowadays as to why we're like, no, the Bullet Club, they got to go to NXT. They got to go to NXT because WWE keeps fucking up everybody that goes to the main roster. But here is one of the main problems with that. One of the main problems, of course, is WWE mishandling them and not packaging them right. That's one problem. Another problem, too, is fans have been let down so many times by WWE, regardless if what they bring up is good or bad, or if it's great or it's terrible. Those fans still are not pleased, regardless of how well it may be handled.
Right.
That's the problem, because people want to hate WWE so much because they're so on the hairy nutsack of NXT. They're having that dangled in front of them all the time.
Bullshit.
So nothing will ever be as good as what they get in NXT. So therefore, whatever happens on the WWE roster, Dave, is always shat upon because it's not NXT. It's not their brand.
Bullshit.
So immediately they want to shoot it down.
Bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit?
It's absolute bullshit. I've had a disconnect from the WWE product. Both
I'm taking one of my
roster
layers off, Dave. I'm ready to brawl, boy.
Yeah, you
Woo!
do it. You better,
You
because
do
you're going to need to. Fact is,
Taking the other layer off.
both
the best episode ever.
WWE roster, main roster, and the NXT roster, I've disconnected from, because to me there is something superior to all that, and that's Lucha Underground. So I can compare, without being emotionally involved, what is the difference between the two. Obviously, there's a production difference as well. One company has millions of dollars available. The other one has tens of millions of dollars available, you know? So there's a difference. But the final outcome of the product, the method that they promote the talent, and the way that they've got their idea in regards to a consistent storyline, between the two, Lucha Underground wins. So I don't have to be connected to those products to be able to criticize them, you know, and not have a valid reason to do so. In fact, quite the opposite. I think that because of that disconnect, I do have a greater ability to be able to judge the situation as it is and see how it is, in fact, quite deficient.
But you are connected to those products.
But I'm not emotionally invested, and that's the difference.
So you're not emotionally invested in NXT?
No, but
Thanks.
I would love to see it. But here's the thing. What do I like? I like wrestling. Wrestling. Not fucking sports entertainment. I like wrestling. I'd like to see small talents
Dave, now
promoted
come on, Dave.
and built up. Okay,
Lucha
I like to
Underground's
know
promos, Dave.
that
Come
there
on.
is a future for wrestling, not sports entertainment, but wrestling.
Oh. What
the
So
fuck is
when I
entertainment?
know because of Triple H and his vision, although I might not like what the heel that he presents himself on TV, the fact is his business vision is super savvy. He's had the idea about the training center. He got NXT off and going. It's clearly doing so well. I've recently read that all his the shows that they're touring with right now, which I personally don't agree with, are totally sold out. People are loving these shows, and there's great excitement about that brand. Why do and I can recognize the value in that, but I can also recognize the fact that WWE is deficient right now in talent, in vision, and creative ability. And when I see that they're trying to take talent from another, segment of their corporation, and knowing how they've done that in the past with other people and totally buried them, although I might not be emotionally invested, I see this as a business situation, as a fan situation, and I can see that it doesn't make sense and that it's counterintuitive to an enjoyable experience watching wrestling.
Two things real quick, Dave. Are you a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan?
I like their stuff, but I can't call myself a fan because I don't watch it consistently enough to say so.
So you're saying, that you don't like it that WWE's taking the product from another organization, but the fact is WWE is putting those guys on a platform that's easier for you to see. These guys need to be on WWE's level because these guys need to be on WWE's podcast on their programming because people need to see AJ Styles. Don't tell me that they don't. That is a guy that has been so dominant in the headlines of pro wrestling for a decade now.
But
maybe
you're
even
talking
longer.
about presenting people on a silver platter. Okay, well, we can talk
hold on.
about...
Let me finish.
Okay. They did it with Kevin Owens, kind of.
And AJ Styles, people needed to see Kevin Owens. Now, granted, he's been mishandled a little bit, but he is still being handled in a very caring way. You know what I mean? He's still being... Anyways, we're not talking Kevin Owens. We're talking AJ Styles and Nakamura and all these guys. People on a mainstream audience need to see these guys because these are amazing professional wrestling athletes. And I want to call you out on something else you said, that you're not into sports entertainment, you're into wrestling. Now look, I'm a big Lucha Underground fan too, but that may have a little bit more of an aspect into the intensity of the wrestling, don't get me wrong, but Dave, their promos is nothing but pure entertainment. They're filmed in movie quality style.
It's not sports entertainment.
They can say it's not sports entertainment all day, Dave, but the thing is, their promos are filmed as if you're watching a movie, which is badass, by the way. I'm not hating that, but that is all for entertainment.
I'm going to quote Chavo Guerrero, who I interviewed personally, and it's not a wrestling show.
And someday we'll hear it.
It's an entertainment show. And that's the thing. Yeah. There's no sports there. It's an entertainment show. There's a difference. We saw somebody murdered on fucking TV on Lucha Underground, okay? This isn't real. It's not sports entertainment. It's just entertainment with wrestling. And that's what Chavo Guerrero said when I interviewed him. And the fact is, he's absolutely right.
Wow. All right. I got nothing on this. I'm just kind of listening. But unbelievable. We will hear that Chavo interview soon, Dave, by the way. Everyone's still asking about it. It was so good. And we got to get him back on for a better one, better quality since my thing screwed up. Anyway.
I'll try and talk to him, and maybe I can get him back on.
Yeah, but but I still want to hear that one. That one's important to hear first. I don't know what to say about any of this, to be honest. I mean, I think that there's a bizarre rising of indie scene. Like, indie wrestling right now is doing really well. It's very strange. And part of that is because the people are flooding away from WWE because they're craving so much more than the WWE is offering. I mean, NXT has offered it for the most part, but that group of people craving the NXT product and what the WWE hasn't done, I mean, they've resorted to going to New Japan, to Lucha Underground, to this
builds
to that.
on what Justin and I were talking about. Why do you think, Joe, that people are doing that? What is it that all these different promotions are providing that WWE is just not providing right now?
Realism and escapism. Two things that are different but yet the same, because I believe many things that happen on the indie scene and in NXT more than I believe, of course, on the main roster, whereas I don't roll my eyes and look up to the sky. Whether it's a match that seems like a real hard-fought technical wrestling match, or whether it's a guy debuting who's a good wrestler, who's amazing, and it's exciting to see, or whether it's a guy using his penis to slam 7 other guys, you know.
Oh, my God.
Any of that is still better than the eye rolling that I get on WWE main roster. So, and that's why people have flooded away in pockets. Like, oh well, yeah, I'm still gonna watch WWE here or there, but I'm mad at it. But on the side, I like Lucha Underground and ROH. Or maybe I like WWE a little bit, but I'm angry at the product and I don't really watch, but I do watch. I can't help but watch, but I'm disappointed. So I watch New Japan Pro Wrestling now. And Jim Ross is going to be the voice of New Japan Pro Wrestling, so that's going to be really good. And I also go to my local indie shows, too. So wrestling fans who care, you know, that 30% to 20% of wrestling fans who really care about the overall aspect of wrestling and not just little kids watching Raw for the first time and stuff like that, those fans are able to find wrestling all over the place and look other places for the first time ever. There's no territories anymore, yeah, but there kind of are. There's global territories now because they're everywhere. There's no WCW that's taking on the WWE head-on. The WWE is head-on taking on the indie scene in general. They're competing with what these other indie scenes are starting to do, and they're all starting to rise up a little bit higher. And they're all doing it in a different way. It's very, very bizarre, and I really think that I've missed the opportunity to speak with some legends about it because they're not as informed about it, or they dismiss it, to be honest. Even a guy like Ted DiBiase, he doesn't know that. You know, a lot of these people don't know about what's going on in the indie scene and how they're making money and what they're really doing. And it's like, you don't understand, they're all starting to get more powerful, all of them. I mean, the only one that isn't as powerful is the one that was trying to be WCW to sort of take on WWE, and that was TNA. And they were always bouncing up and down and up and down. But they've been horribly mismanaged too. TNA is just as mismanaged, if not more, obviously more mismanaged than the WWE. So all these other companies are benefiting from it too. And all that in that core, that different audience, that 1 million people that they took from WWE or that they piggybacked off of with WWE, the 1 million people that cared about TNA, they've all dispersed. I love this high-paced, fast wrestling stuff. I can't take TNA anymore. They've all dispersed to these other indie scenes too. It's unbelievable what's happening. I mean, a wrestling historian, if they're really paying attention, this is something that's been changing for the last 2 years, and now it's really and new WWE fans who watch NXT never knew wrestling could be like this. And they're like, so take it the other way. Some people from the WWE main roster fans find NXT and go, this is better than the main roster thing. I didn't know wrestling existed like this. I've never seen this before. And then they start getting into NXT and they start hearing words like ROH and Lucha Underground. They never heard of that. They spill over to that. So
yeah,
the WWE needs to get back to keeping all these people and growing the audience. 1 million, 2 million watchers, 3 million watchers, 4 million watchers. Will they ever get back to 8, 9 million? Probably not. But they need to stop. They have so many windows that they're leaving open, that these people are escaping out of the windows like there's a fire. I got 5 minutes left. What else do you guys feel is fairly important and necessary to speak about? I think this has really been an isolated, topical conversation in this state of the WWE, but necessary and good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important topic that's coming up, and Dave and I we're on opposite sides, but we're just passionate about, what we're talking about. And the thing, obviously when this video, people listen to this podcast, whatever platform they listen to it, I understand that I am going to be the enemy for this show because of...
I don't think so.
Well, just because I know there's more people on the side with Dave because they really do want him in NXT. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't. I'm just saying, as a WWE fan, we need somebody like the Bullet Club. They need to be debuted on the main roster. We need something to hit hard. We need
Justin,
something.
I'm not denying that, though. That's the thing that you have to understand. That I've never denied that. The issue is, though, what's more beneficial in the long run? Do you really prefer a week by week storyline where maybe the week before they totally forget that the champion may have lost against some jobber? I mean, do we not want to see maybe a buildup of 6 months to a year to something that's absolutely spectacular? We have not been getting that for the longest time, and that is my biggest concern. And with just the slightest amount of fucking foresight, you can correct this.
You're right, Dave, and that's what I'm saying. This is an opportunity for them to make up for some of the mistakes they've done. If they can handle something like this right, the WWE fans be like, WWE, they handled this right. They needed this. This is something they need. Now, and don't get me wrong. Listen, AJ Styles and his Bullet Club guys, if this is mishandled, Joe, Dave, I'm with you. This is going to be absolutely catastrophic to WWE's name.
Really?
I'm saying if they mess up bringing
I'll agree with you there, Justin. If they mess up the Bullet Club, it's like basically getting handled a golden goose on a silver platter. If they fuck this up, I don't even know the repercussions that are going to happen, not only in the wrestling world, but financially to their stocks.
It won't be well. You're right. And, Joe, I think we're all in agreement. This is like, if WWE's ever been, at the head of the barrel, this is it right here. If they fuck up the Bullet Club, I am convinced this would be very catastrophic to their brand.
I disagree with that.
This isn't the time where where WCW got the outsiders into WCW, okay?
Yeah.
There's no clear competition for WWE. They're getting handed this perfect product that worked, that has support, and that people want to see. If they fuck this up, again, like I said, I have no idea what's going to happen. I cannot predict.
I definitely disagree with all that. I don't think I think this will just be another F up of them that has happened, and it would be for the 30% of us that care this much about it, it would be catastrophic. We would be beside ourselves if they screwed this up, and it would be awful, definitely. But it will not be the end of them, because they'll still have that 70% audience of people who are and they don't know and they don't care, and they spend money, and they'll be here for 2 years, and then they'll recycle them in another 2 years. Yes, they'll start to slowly shrink as they've been doing, but that's it. Anyway, this was State of the WWE episode number 49, guys. Had to cut it a little bit short today because we're all constrained here for time or whatever. Thanks, Justin Bailey. If you guys want to check out Justin Bailey, the Best There Is podcast from Justin, maybe go over there and yell at him after you hear these points, or agree with him. Maybe agree with him, maybe you don't. The Best There Is podcast, it's coming up on the top right of your screen right now. Click that link. It's flashing across your screen. That will take you to Justin Bailey's channel. Make sure you subscribe to him for all his videos. And I'll be on his show at some point, too, so you want to be checking those out. And also, I'm sure Devious Dave Rose will be as well. Thank you to Devious Dave Rose. And, of course, if he continues with the Lucha Review, he's going to be absolutely destroying. So if you have been listening and you're like, I love Lucha Underground, Devious Dave Rose is your man for the Lucha Review. It's going to be unbelievable this season, I think. I do love Lucha, and I'm going to watch more religiously than I did last year, and I like the idea of it being episodic, and it's going to be wonderful, and Dave's going to break it down for you. So thank you to you guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you for subscribing right here, The Joe Cronin Show, at Joe Cronin Show on Twitter. Click the like button, and we'll see you in the next State of the WWE episode number 50 next week. And I almost forgot. We'll see you Monday night after Raw. We'll be live on my channel taking your phone calls, reacting to Raw, reviewing Raw. Tomorrow night, Monday night after Raw. We'll see you then.
Go home show.
Oh, yeah, go home show. Go home. Go big. Go black.